welcome to what promises to be a very interesting discussion on Crew Insights. I am Kelly Gerakoudi, Assistant Professor in the Shipping Management Department at DEREE, the American College of Greece, and I will be your moderator today. We have 4 amazing panels here. So let's start with our first one, titled Crew Supply and Demand, Attraction and Retention. Let me first introduce to you our esteemed panelists, starting with Mrs. Vasso Kaperoni, Crew Manager at Vafias Group of Companies. Hello, Vasso. Welcome.
It's my pleasure being here.
Thank you. Next up, please welcome Mr. Vassilis Vomvas, Global Crewing Director at Seafair. Hi, Vassilis.
Hi, Kelly. Hello, everybody.
Nice to have you here. And of course, Mr. Argyris Gkountaras, Crew Manager at Global Seaways. Hi, Argyris.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with our first question. How do you analyze and forecast crew supply and demand dynamics in the maritime industry? Vasso, let's start with you.
To predict the crew supply and demand, it's not something that simple, and there are several factors that affect it. The first one has to do with the global economy. So the more the economy grows and we have more demand for transportation of goods, more ships are available, so the manning needs they are increased. At the same time, when it has to do with the organization, the management decision of each company on how many vessels will be sold, will be built, will be purchased, defines the manning needs, but cannot be predicted as this is directly related to the market. The other thing that affects the manning needs are the geopolitical factors. Nowadays, we see territorial disputes that greatly affect maritime activities in several aspects, and they change the strategic decision of some companies to employ certain nationalities. Mm-hmm. This has to do, for example, the ex-Soviets, that after the Ukrainian and Russian conflict, it's a major factor that several companies they don't have ex-Soviets, and they are looking for Filipinos, and this affects the Filipino market. Also, the warlike areas and the increased risks make several seafarers very hesitant to be employed on board ships trading in these trading patterns. And this is something that also affects. The last thing, amongst others, that I would like to mention is the demographic and the social changes. The profession of seafarer seems that it's not nowadays so much attractive to the young generation.
Why is that?
For numerous reasons, because nowadays ships they don't stay at port long, and there are most of the seafarers they may spend weeks or even months without touching the land. There is also some increased pressure that seafarers they must be very well trained and qualified, and this requires time and training.
So that's frustrating and demanding in parallel.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we have a situation where less young people they are ready to follow seafarers' profession, while at the same time the current pool of officers we have, it keeps aging. They are close to their retirement, and there is an extra pressure of how they will be replaced. Mm-hmm. This is not an easy task to handle.
Thank you, Vasso. Very interesting. Thank you so much. Argyris, what is your opinion?
Actually, from my side, I believe that it's extremely challenging in order to say that you can survey fluid, mobile, and diverse workforce on a global scale and have accurate results. Mm-hmm. I mean, the international labor workforce landscape in general is characterized by a fragmented nature that it has, and at the same time there is no system that may track for the Seafair metrics. All of us, we are using the Vomvas ICS report, the DEREE Manning report, the UNCTAD report, the National Authorities report, the EMSA report, and all these reports are gathering many information, many statistical data, with having age, gender, seafarer nationalities and their profiles, manning levels and backup ratios, the number of vessels that are trading worldwide, and the forecasting for the new building and the scrap market, and other data that have been gathered by maritime experts and the maritime training institutions. From our side as Global, we have developed an ERP named Gloculus. We are inputting all the necessary data inside. Then we have in the external reports, we sit down with our clients, we see their present situation, we see their future plans, and we come up with a recommendation on a future crewing strategy. It might be an establishment of a cadetship program, it might be the deployment of additional junior officers, it might be even an alternative manpower supply
So
country.
you make informed decisions, right?
Exactly, this is the reason. I have to say that these organizations are doing their best in order to provide accurate results, but at the end of the day, we need to say that, for example, there are differences. Legate in 2004 found that the ILO 2001 report was indicating for 997,000 seafarers, and the BINCO 2000 report was giving 450,000 seafarers, which means that there is a pattern, and they have checked 35 countries. They have checked the same data.
Mhm.
They're checking the active STCW documents, but they're not checking the active STCW certified seafarers that are on board. The only accurate thing that we can say, that we can have as statistical data, has to do with the deployment of the Filipino seafarers, because in order to leave the country, they need to have the Overseas Employment Certificate, the OEC. So in this respect, the only country that we can have accurate data is from the Filipino seafarers deployment.
Excellent. Argyris. Vassilis, what do you think?
Yeah, we're talking about forecasting crew supply, right? So it's we don't need necessarily to go into quantitative data, but we also need to have qualitative insights. So in Seafair, we have at least 10 aspects that we look into. I mean, we take into serious consideration when we're trying to forecast the demand and the supply dynamics. So taking into consideration historical data. My colleagues already talked about that. I'm going to repeat the same thing. Industry reports, like Argyris already said about BIMCO, ICS, ILO reports, either annual or biannual, that they provide a lot of information regarding forecasting. Fleet development in terms of types of vessels, new buildings, scrapping rates, and things that we need to take into consideration in long term, not short terms. Economic indicators, so we need to consider the GDP growth and also national and international situation on the seafaring nations.
Mm-hmm.
Regulatory changes, like new regulations that come into force, either are due or are already here, and they do influence a lot the supply and demand of the seafarers. Technological advancements, we cannot hide anymore. Okay, we need to work with technology, and this has a strong impact on the seafaring requirements. And a lot of youngsters, or maybe a lot of people that are eager to go at sea and walk, they see this as a plus, not as a minus that it used to be, let's say 10 or 20 years ago. Educational and training. So we need to take into consideration what is the output we have from the maritime educational training centers or the training institutions, and how they provide the training in various nationalities and various ranks. Demographics, that like Vasso already talked about it, I'm not going to repeat that. I have the best for last, and this is the stakeholder feedback. So we need to ask, and we need to get feedback from everybody, which means that we go into ship owners, crewing agencies, and seafarers themselves. Sometimes the feedback that you receive from seafarers really helps you to understand and go into deep and see what is this family review about the profession, the things that they want to pass into the family, and also what they want to do next. So these all 10 parameters helps us predict, let's say, the supply and demand dynamics.
Thank you, Vassilis. I think this is very interesting information. Now, what kind of strategies does your organization employ to attract skilled crew members in such a competitive market? Argyris, let's start with you.
From our side, as Global Seaways having 27 years of our course in the shipping industry, the seafarer is of utmost importance for us, and we're giving great interest for the seafarer that is coming to meet us in the office. In this respect, we have allocated our offices. We went to a brand new building in Manila, where is the main center of our operation, in a very applicable area. We occupy 1,500 square meters of our office, and 2 floors below we have our state-of-the-art training center, Nautilus Pacific Maritime Training Center, which very soon will be 2,500 square meters, and our Hippocrates Diagnostic Services Center, which is our clinic. So in this respect, we have established what we call a one-stop shop for our clients and for our seafarers, in order to have on the same building, on the same place, manning, training, and the medical examinations at the same time, in order not to wander around Manila. We're giving great interest for our people. We have well-trained and experienced colleagues that know how to attract and recruit seafarers. We have established our satellite offices in the islands of Cebu and Iloilo. We're utilizing all the available social media. We're coming live 3 times per week on Facebook in order to discuss and to present our open vacancies. What else?
Quite a few things, right?
It's quite a few things, but in general, we're trying, in order to be near to our seafarers,
Sounds effective.
we're trying to propose them, we're giving them the opportunity in order to be employed either in the big reputable companies with diversified fleet, or with smaller, long-traditional shipping companies.
What kind of companies do they prefer?
If you ask the Greek seafarers, and especially the young generation, everybody was going to say LNG. And I'm looking at the gentleman because they have seen it
Kaperoni.
first-handed, this one. I mean, out of 40, 50 youngsters, you will find 49 of them wanted to join LNG for the flexible contracts and all this. In general, for the seafarers now, we're providing attractive salary scales, modern fleet. They have flexible contracts, they have bonus, they have good working and living conditions on board. And I believe this is what makes our recruitment strategy an effective one.
Thank you, Argyris. Vasili, your opinion?
Yeah, that's quite interesting what Argyris said already. But in terms of we're talking about seafarers, right? So for sure, we're talking about a competitive compensation package. We all know that working at sea really helps the finance of the family, provided you also be able to proceed and progress in your career. So apart from adding having in place basic salaries, enhanced basic salaries, we also apply incentives and other perks that makes our compensation a little bit more, let's say, positive. In terms of career and development opportunities, every seafarer needs to have a career ahead of him. So they're not joining the sea just to go there and stay there forever, like ABs or like oilers. So they need to have clear career paths, clear strategies that will be there and will be implemented.
They need room for development.
Correct. So otherwise, the strong workers, the competent people, will not be incentivized anymore. They will lose their let's say interest to remain at sea. Positive work environment. Working at sea, it's not easy. It's a really demanding job. So we need to make sure we're always trying to stay close to the ship owner and make sure that they provide the positive work environment to the seafarer on board, where the person is well valued, is respected and supported in all times, not only when the time comes and you have a difficult job to perform. Recognition and rewards, as we said, we do, support the outstanding performance, and the person has to be, rewarded for the hard work. Recruitment marketing. Also, we apply recruitment strategies in terms of promoting our organization as an employer of choice. And this is done through various marketing efforts, through the social media, as very well Argyris said, because we're talking about Filipino pool, and Filipinos are very, very eager to use the Facebook nowadays. And also, we do participate on industry events. And the most important aspect that Seafair is also following is the referral program. So we ask our seafarers to refer their own colleagues to join our company and enjoy the same benefits.
May I ask if you communicate all these qualitative data that you collect to the owners?
That's a very good question, tricky one. Right, yes, all the ship owners cannot actually follow all the packets. Mm-hmm. So what we normally do is we provide them with our feedback, we provide them our expertise on this field, and we're trying to make a new package which is tailor-made for the respective ship owner. Mm-hmm. it also has to be aligned with the nationality. It also has to be aligned with the contract duration. Argyris said that on the LNGs it's very attractive because it's 3 plus months for contract. So we need to make sure that the ship owner is aligned, informed, and happy with the package that he decides or she decides to go with.
Thank you, Vassili. Vasso, what about your organization?
For our organization, it's very important to attract seafarers because we are a fast-growing company. Nowadays, we operate about more than 80 ships, 85. We have a diversified fleet of consists of tankers, of LPGs, of bulk carriers, and there is a keen interest by the senior management into investing in new ships, new vessels, either new buildings or to purchase new ships, second hand. That makes the need for a crew very intense, and we need to be an attractive employer. So what do we do? First of all, the size of the company and the years that we operate in the market makes our company very attractive for a professional seafarer who needs to work with someone and have a certain security. Okay. Then the other advantage that makes several seafarers applying with us is the fact that we employ top to bottom only Filipinos. That gives the opportunity to good Filipino officers to feel that there is room to have a career path and promotion opportunities ahead of them compared to other companies where they have mixed pool of mixed nationalities, and in several instances I hear complaints that even, they are good performance, they give priority to Greeks, let's say, if they have Greeks or Europeans. The other advantage we have is that 6 years ago we established our own manning office in Manila, and this made a big difference because as a ship owner, having our own manning office gives us the opportunity to handle the ship matters the way we prefer. As Vassilis said, we also encourage the newcomers, but also the existing officers and crew to have their recommendees. And having a big fleet of more than 80 ships, there are opportunities for employment. And also, the last thing that recently we have started implemented is to encourage and employ female seafarers on board our ships. So,
what is the reason for that?
Because we feel that women in general can do great. They have soft skills and they have the capacity to be successful in what they do. The few examples that we have so far are positive, despite some issues we encounter, as I believe...
with their work-life balance, you mean, or something else?
It's not easy for a female seafarer to be on board the ship and, to be treated equally by her colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times they have to work more and prove themselves. But I'm glad to admit and see that we have already the first female officers. We have promoted female seafarers because they started as ratings, and we have promoted female officers already.
Am I allowed to pose a rather controversial question to you? Would you ever consider including in your crew members LGBTQ people?
The diversity is something that we have been discussing greatly recently, and we have already. There are people on board ships with personal preferences that they are known to everyone. They are open, but as long as this does not affect the way they work, we are fine with that. It's very important that senior management supports this diversity. So
Both on shore and
yes,
on board.
yes.
Excellent, thank you so much. And finally, referring to your existing crew members, what retention programs or incentives are in place in your organizations to foster loyalty and commitment among them? Vasili, would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you. Well, provided we have already secured the seafarers, now we need to return them. This is more difficult sometimes, right? Because the competition, this is where the competition starts. Sorry, yes. Considering that we already have the seafarers, we need to return them. So we do have, other than the standard benefits that most of the companies have, like rejoining bonuses, seniority bonuses, loyalty bonuses, good performance bonuses, we go a little bit deeper and we are trying to support the seafarer's family. So apart from providing the seafarer a good, let's say, insurance plan, the insurance plan goes further and beyond to the wife and the children themselves. But definitely, in terms of the Filipino pool, which is the vast majority of our pool, really enjoys this scheme. Other than that, we already discussed about clear career paths. This applies not only on recruitment but also on retaining. So it's the same principle that we discussed. So defining and following this career path by actually getting into the promotion really helps to retain your crew within your pool. Recognition and rewards programs that we follow nowadays are also something that we apply the Seafarer of the Month. This has really been a little bit new scheme for Seafair. We don't do it only on LinkedIn and Facebook, but we also use our own website, and has really helped a lot to boost the morale of the person who has been rewarded as the month.
What is the reward usually?
Money. But apart from money, there is a specific welfare bonus on board the ship owner who has accepted this scheme, and applies on various things that they can, let's say, buy on board the vessel, like a welfare bonus that they can utilize when someone is awarded as the Seafarer of the Month, and he or she decides which will be the item that they will purchase.
Great, excellent.
Most of the time it's karaoke for Filipinos. But other than that, I've seen some very, very nice ideas, apart from, let's say,
so they are creative in terms of rewards. Right?
Sorry?
They are creative in terms
Yes,
of
they are indeed. They are indeed. It's a very interesting list. So going further, we need to ensure that the living conditions on board are the ones that not only MLC, let's say, talks about, but we need to make sure that the seafarer is enjoying quality of life, is enjoying quality food, recreational facilities, access to internet. So access to internet is very, very important. And we always stay next to the seafarer to make sure that the seafarer really has reliable internet access. And something very important that we talked about, not only on LNGs, on all the vessels, the seafarer needs to have a precise rotation scheme. Okay, he or she signs a contract. The contract has a specific validity. Which of the crew managers really respect this validity and they don't go over and above without the seafarer's, let's say, approval or let's say accept. So we're trying to persuade the ship owners to get to know that keeping the contract and respecting the validity of the contract is an invaluable benefit for the seafarer, either short or long.
Thank you. About 4 minutes left. Argyris?
I will try to expand because most things have been already mentioned by my colleague. With the bonuses, we also have the post control and vetting inspection bonuses with zero deficiencies or with less deficiencies. The working living conditions, yes, is a must because of the MLC. Most of our clients have already started to have a Starlink and to have a free internet access. Actually, the MLC is coming, the amendments on December, that they will require to have a reliable internet access for the crew. But it's very important also for the mental health. We're having a mental health support 24/7 for our seafarers. They have medical care on board and ashore whenever it's necessary. They have good victualling levels. They have flexible contract durations because, as Vasso mentioned, it's difficult in order to bring the youngsters at sea. So we need to do something about it. And flexible contract duration and to avoid things or find solutions regarding criminalization and fatigue is a must. And it's not only to deal with the seafarer, we need to deal also with the family. So health insurance for the seafarer and his family. We have a scholarship bonus for the seafarers' children that have excelled in school. We have family support initiatives for wives' club and seminars that we are conducting for the seafarers' families. And actually, if you realize that you need to take care of the seaman and his family, this is actually the golden rule for recruitment and retention.
Thank you. Vasso?
Monetary incentives are very important, as my colleagues mentioned before. So we have rejoining bonus, we have a loyalty bonus that increase their salary, we have benefits for good inspections and monetary bonuses for good inspections. Other than that, we are trying to do more things. We have decided to subsidize the trainings for certain ranks, for electricians and for the gas engineers, due to the fact that trainings are expensive and sometimes it's a factor that prohibits a seafarer to move forward. We subsidize 50% of the trainings for those ones that they want to move forward. We have also a very good insurance package for the seafarers and their families, all their family members, that has a yearly duration, where a seafarer can and his family can go to a doctor and cover a considerable amount of expenses, medical expenses. We also established an online psychological support by psychologists 24/7. So every seafarer, when on board, they are able to contact and have a psychological session anonymously, without, company knows about what it was discussed, and get support. The company, we are aware only in cases that someone may appear that he may harm himself or his colleagues. Yes, and it has been cases where we have been given, we have been informed that someone, may harm himself. So this is very important for the seafarers to know that there is someone to talk without feeling anxious that company will find out.
Excellent.
And of course the internet, the good conditions on board and the internet, it's vital for Filipinos and not only.
Thank you so much for your contribution. That was very interesting indeed. Thank you so much.